It's a time for package from China. It's a time for the package from China, so let's go. Hey, it's awesome that you're tuning in. So in today's video we are going to take a close look at something pretty damn awesome. And the thing is, with Anbernic makes so many of these freaking handhelds, but now they made something that I was more like, why? And when I hold it and tested it for myself, I can completely understand why it actually is. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So this is one of those products that came out of nothing. They just released it, and I can tell you, at first I was very skeptical, thinking, what do we need this for? I just want to have this unboxing experience with you guys. And take consideration, there are two different versions, or at least two versions you can order. You can get yourself only the handheld and one with a carry case, originally from Anbernic. And I can tell you, you're going to not always need it. The idea behind it is that we're going to get ourselves a keychain. Yeah, this thing is very tiny. I will show you a little bit later in this video. But is it actually going to be a keychain to put on your keys, with your keys, whatever? It's going to be absolutely questionable. Though the case they're giving me looks pretty damn cool. Official with Anbernic logo on it. It's tiny, like the device itself. First thing, let's smell it. Oh man, it smells nice. So this, my friends, this is the RG Nano. The RG Nano is one of those products that I'm thinking this is absolutely crazy. Coming in 3 colors, blue, purple and magenta. Man, I have no idea how to pronounce that. Nevertheless, inside we're going to get ourselves like one of the tiniest devices, or better, the tiniest device Anbernic ever released. So they're having an overview of the instruction manual here, a quick overview where you can see that what you can do actually with it. They did a good job with this, but here it is. Here is this tiny bad boy, and I was really surprised to see how actually high quality it is. Because first of all, when I've never like looked into the previous ones, like I think it was Funky, one of the brands. This thing is made out of aluminium. Like, how freaking cool is it? And it also weighs quite heavy. And that's the thing when I'm thinking, is this really you're going to put on your keychain? Because, yeah, the weight is going even the same like my keys. Nevertheless, when you're looking at the overall, like the thing is in tiny, teeny tiny Game Boy with shoulder buttons. At the top, we're going to get ourselves the connection for the Type-C for charging. Over here, we're going to get a button and SD card slot for the SD. Let's take a close look. What are we going to get with the quality? Because this is an issue. Okay, the reason I'm saying an issue, they need to stop like grabbing these really non-branded SD cards, because they can get corrupted fairly easy. Always make a backup if you're going to get it with the Belina Etcher. So, but the overall thing, how it looks and how it feels is great, I can tell you. Normally I don't like these tiny devices, simply because they're not super comfortable, but I've noticed when actually like playing with this, it's very comfortable. Like the buttons are super tiny, they have this stylish, super NES look to it, but they just feel nice, having a very long but nice travel to it. At the bottom we're going to get the speaker, and that speaker, by the way, is great. Just listen to it. The only thing is, it comes in a very strange resolution display, where some of the games will be stretched a little bit. I will show you later on. But when holding it, actually playing it, it's such a fun experience. But nevertheless, let's power it on, and I will show you what you're actually going to get. The first thing I already noticed on the first time I've booted up a device like this, it's going to be a beautiful display. And yep, it also shows you the time. That is even more cool. But overall what you can do is like getting into the menu over here. So it will load up the old school menu like with the open dingus. So it's not the Emulation stuff that we have seen before. And in here we're going to get different kind of emulators that we can actually play. And what this thing can play is all the way up to freaking PlayStation 1. Yup, it runs PlayStation 1. That is so freaking cool. Another thing I've noticed when actually using this thing, this D-pad is very tiny, but it is still very comfortable, and they completely, absolutely nailed it. So let's start off with just PlayStation, because that is just freaking cool, and let's load up some games. Okay, so next up, let's take a close look at the menu, because when you're booting up the game itself, you're pressing the button over here, you can even make a quick load, quick save, adjust the brightness of the display if you want to. Then we're having volume control, and in here we can just exit through the main menu. It will ask you, like, you make for sure. I think it's very great that it did this. Sometimes you accidentally press it, but if you're going to press it again, it will boot up the game, or better said, like, it resumes the game. Now you can just see that it does struggle slightly here when it comes to overall emulation performance. Also, the aspect ratio is so weird with this. So let's get into the other mode. So let's put it on cropped. You can even scaled. Okay, so let's continue. Let's see if that's going to be working. And here you can see it doesn't have a better effect when it comes to overall gameplay, when it comes to play some Tekken. But let's go to a different game and let's see how that actually works. So the next test, let's see how it actually runs when it comes to a Avenger game, and that's what I was most surprised by with this tiny D-pad. It actually plays so well. You can just play some Crash Bandicoot with this. It's absolutely crazy. The overall performance is always slightly better when you're looking at Tekken. Let's get into the game. So the menu, let's boot it up and show you what I changed out in the previous part, where I basically messed around with the aspect ratio. We have cropped, scaled, so let's get into the scaled option. And this happens basically when you're going to do that. So that is not very great to play, but let's check out zoomed. That's also not something I like. Stretched. And this is the original way we started with aspect ratios. I could tell you it's not super comfortable, but there we go. I cannot see myself playing with this for an hour. Oh man. But let's get into some other systems. For example, when you're looking at the Game Boy Advance part, of course, the screen is completely different when you're looking at the original Game Boy Advance. And now it's going to be looking even more weirder, in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's going to be affecting my overall experience when it comes to the games. But yeah, it's kind of a bummer, to be honest. Let's see if we're going to get scaled. And this is basically the original aspect ratio of the game itself. But then it's the question what kind of way you want to play, because the screen is now becoming even more tinier to play actually. Oh boy, I think stretch is going to be the best way to experience the game. Because the screen is already so tiny, if you're going to have two gigantic black bars, this is not going to be fun to play. But if you want to try something wicked, of course one of the things that we need to play is the Game Boy, because this is actually like a tiny Game Boy. And doesn't look that too shabby in my opinion. There's a lot of fun playing this. I must say that I need to get the volume to maximum to really enjoy the soundtracks. Wow, that's a big difference. Just slap everything with a freaking hammer. Oh yeah. Oh boy, to play my favorite Sonic game from the Mega Drive on here, it's absolutely cool. And it runs absolutely perfect. So when it comes to, let's say, the 16-bit stuff, Game Boy Classic, this runs perfectly. Where PlayStation 1, we did get some trouble when it comes to some certain games. But to think about it, this is absolutely running great. And wow, that speaker in here. That's a great test always to do if you want to test out how the stereo effect is. Just grab some rings with Sonic. No weird stuff going on with the emulation there. Besides playing fighting games, the input is always very important when you're going to actually play games that has some crazy bonus stage like this. But I can tell you, oh man, I'm flabbergasted just to see actually how good this works. And you just have yourself a portable, or better said, a micro portable PC engine in your hand, because also that can be played on a device like this, because this is just so cool. I can tell you, PC Engine is a system I personally really enjoy on my original games, on the original system, on my CRT, but this is so much cool. By the way, one of my favorite games to play. In my opinion, this is a great way that Anbernic shows like, hey, what can we all make? And I was like absolutely flabbergasted when it comes to the overall quality of this device. I think it's a very smart move to went for the metal. Yeah, it will give you more weight, but it feels so durable. This is not a handheld I can play for hours because my hands are going to be cramping up all the freaking time. But I think it's a very cool thing they made. Let me know in the comments what you think of this cool novelty. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it would be great to see you in the next video.